Defend Our Democracy is on the ground mobilizing its election monitoring campaign. The civil society movement led an election roadshow in Johannesburg earlier to spread the message of voter education and to guide election observers. For more on this conversation, we're now joined by Defend Our Democracy Communication Officer, Andries Sibanyoni. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Now, it is an exciting year of elections across the world. Bringing it back home to South Africa, it's particularly a crucial election and some have said that it's the most important since 1994. Tell us a bit about Election Watch and the work that you'll be doing regarding the elections.
Okay, thank you so much for having us today. Election Watch is a national civil society movement which is focusing on educating people about monitoring and observing elections. As you have correctly put, it's a very interesting year because many people have compared this year's elections with 1994. And we are just hoping that the turnout to elections will be good. Remember, we've got about 27 million eligible people or eligible voters, people who have registered. So we are hoping for one of the highest turnout because this is one of the fiercely contested elections.
Now, as you know, it will be fiercely contested and South Africans will be spoiled for choice when it comes to these elections with hundreds of political parties and independents contesting. What are your concerns when it comes to these upcoming elections?
As an organization, we are concerned. One of the major concerns is the disinformation and the inflammatory statements as people are campaigning or launching their manifestos. However, we don't think South Africans would stoop that low and do something untoward. South Africans have always stood up to the occasion and do their best. Therefore, the concerns that we are having, I guess, are the concerns of everyone, but up to so far, there is nothing much that we can say it's a red flag. Yes.
What kind of reaction have South Africans shown you? You're a fairly new organization as well, a new initiative looking into elections, only being launched last year. Are people interested in playing some sort of a more active citizenry role?
Yes, South Africans have embraced Election Watch with both hands. In all the workshops that we have attended, we have been to 7 provinces since the beginning of this month. And wherever we went, people came out in their numbers. For example, today here in Johannesburg, Parktown St. George's Anglican Church, we had more than 200 people attending our event, all of them wanting to be election observers. And on top of those 200 people, more than 18, they were representing more than 18 civil society movements, starting from environmental organizations, Institute of Security Studies, and other faith-based and community organizations. So briefly, I would say the South Africans have embraced Election Watch with both hands.
And as they have done so, why did you feel the need for such an organization when South Africa never really has had issues with elections, as you've also noted yourself? They are free, they're fair, and we have the IEC. But
there's always the first time, eh? So remember, if you know, South African elections have always been observed by European Unions, African Union, SADC, and other international organizations. And here in South Africa, what we used to have, it was just the party agents inside our voting stations. Now we are mobilizing the communities to say South African elections are our elections. So as communities, rather than being spectators on the game that we can play, let us get involved. Let us be part of this election observing.
And also making mention of those party observers as well and all these other bodies that do observe our elections. From your engagements with those hundreds of people who have come forward to say they also want to play a role, they want to be a part of this, are you ensuring that this remains non-partisan as well? And why is it so important for that?
Yes. At every gathering that we had, our opening statement is that we are non-partisan. So we want people to be as neutral as possible. We don't want people who are politically active in their respective communities. What we are mobilizing for is for people who are acting or involved in other communities or other activities of the communities where we know that people are going to trust them. They are not going to align them to any other political party, because if they are aligned to political parties, they will compromise our initiative, and that's not what we want. At the moment, we want people to trust us so that we can freely work and do our work, observe, and see that the elections are free and fair, and the outcomes are also credible.
And see for yourselves as well. You know, your intention is also to compile a report after the election that will help Election Watch for other upcoming elections. We've got a local government election next year, and of course, our next general election would then be in 2029. Tell us more about your future plans for elections in the country.
Yes, I would say this serves as a pilot project. Our focus, of course, is to make sure that the elections are conducted with integrity. We are starting in 2024 general elections, and then we are also planning to go to 2026 and 2029. We think we are going to learn a lot from these elections, and our experiences are going to make us better people as we approach the upcoming elections in both 2026 and 2029.
Are you going to be able to garner enough support and volunteers to be able to observe election stations across the country? I'm assuming that will be also quite difficult as well, considering there's about 23,000 voting stations.
Yeah, we are aiming for more than 2,000 election observers, which are going to be observers in their respective communities across the country, because we have also seen that the people have shown interest starting from Northern Cape up to Mafikeng in the Northwest. We have developed an app which our observers will be using to record incidences in the voting stations and write reports so that they can share with us in our center, and we compile a report and send it to IEC and highlight all the areas of concern so that next elections we do a better job together.
Well, we can't have too much help. All the help is needed indeed. Thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about your initiative.